Just a Song at Twilight by Robert Aickman. Read by Tim McInnerny. Up the mud road, neither old nor new, but timeless and sad as the people who built it, advanced the much battered station wagon. It was also different from last time. It had been less than 4 months before that Lydia and Timo, weary of London, had gone to spend a fortnight on the island with Nugent and Packer, who ran a guest house there. On the island, Lydia had that spring caught a glimpse of beauty itself and agreeable mystery. She could not define these things. She felt it unwise to try. And most remarkable, Timo seemed to feel them too. For the first time, they really seemed to feel alike. 3 days before they flew away, they decided not only to come back, but to move to the island and live there. The next morning they spent driving round in a hired car, and within a few hours had found a large stone-walled patch of unkempt holding at the top of a deep cleft in the cliffs, with a small modern structure built of slabs lying empty in one upper corner of it. The site seemed perfect. Only 12 kilometres from the town, with no other building in view, and what amounted to a private sandy beach. Admittedly, the house was less attractive. Still, they had sat on the warm grass, feeling the hot rock beneath. But Timo was already worrying, not about the immediate decision, but about his general economic ineffectiveness. It was a distress that always annoyed Lydia, because in this matter at least she had known exactly what lay before her when she married. "Oh, Timo, why can't we just try to be happy?" she said. "I might get a part-time job teaching English," said Timo. "It's a pity that no one needs Estonian." "You can teach me Estonian." Timo smiled and squeezed her hand, but said nothing. She had long before come to suppose that his native land was a secret from which she was thoroughly excluded. "You'll be able to write your book." "My dear Lydia, we haven't bought the place yet. We don't even know if it's for sale." But that same afternoon they were told by a local businessman that it was. He owned it himself. The price was higher than expected, and the businessman wanted immediate payment. In the end, Lydia undertook to transfer a large sum within a week from London to the local bank of San Gabriel. Timo signed 6 or 7 half-comprehended sheets of paper. The property was apparently theirs, and they went into the beautiful square for drinks. When, the following week, all their London friends said they must be quite mad, they lightly out-argued them. But now, in their own station wagon, weighed down with books, art objects, pans, suitcases and camping equipment, the 12 kilometres from the town seemed far longer than they had remembered. Timo set out on a journey round the small estate. "There's a well," he reported. "Is there water in it?" "That will take time to find out." "Isn't it the first thing?" "The first thing tomorrow, perhaps. Now we just unload and go back to Nugent and Packer." It had been the agreed arrangement, but Lydia had never really approved of it. "Couldn't we stay here now that we've got here? There's food and bedding in the van, and all we've got to do is to get up some water." "We're committed. We told Nugent and Packer we were coming back." "They'll hardly notice whether we're there or not." "You wouldn't speak like that if Nugent and Packer were your friends." "In this heat it's absurd to grind along for any more miles in that closed van unless we have to. I'm going to try the well." Lydia ploughed and sweltered across the grass. When she reached the well in the middle of the empty grassland, she shouted back, "What's all this wire?" Across the grass beyond, impeding the access to the private beach, was an entangled swathe of military barbed wire. It came from over the hillside to the left, crossed their little valley, and ascended the hillside to the right, where it passed from view. Lydia looked back and saw that Timo had opened the van. He was taking things out, stacking them against the low wall. She waded across to him. "I've changed my mind," she said. "Let's go back to Nugent and Packer after all. With the things. We've been swindled." "You can't call it swindled. We don't own the land on the other side of the wall." But they could have told us. Surely they must have known? Of course they knew. That's how we got the place at all. That's why we were asked to pay at once. I don't think we should accept the property at all. It was sold to us on false pretenses. We've paid for it. Or, rather, you have. Do you feel like trying your luck in the local courts? I won't just let the money go. If you won't help to get it back, I shall do it myself. In the meantime, said Timo, we are bound to live here. It will be months before we can settle anything. Lydia began to take things into the house. After 2 journeys, she was so hot that she had to stop. In the end, they managed it between them, and the disposition within of the simple objects, the camp beds and the cultural mementos, became almost diverting. Moreover, there was water in the well. They threw down rugs to flatten the long grass, and Lydia began to boil water for tea on their Primus stove. "We'd better boil it thoroughly," she observed. "I think it's all right. It looks to me like a spring. I'm glad something's gone right." They sat gazing at the barbed wire beyond the far wall, awaiting the Primus. "If you'd like to stop here tonight," said Timo, "I don't really mind." 10 minutes slipped by. Then there was an interruption. "That's a car," said Timo. "It stopped here," said Lydia. There was a sound of pushing through the grass, and the unexpected figure of a woman came round the corner of the house. She wore a very inappropriate black woolen dress, neglected flat-heeled shoes, and no stockings. She seemed to be about 30. "Can you lend me some money? 10 crusados will do. I have to pay for the car, please." Timo immediately put his hand in his pocket and produced 14 crusados, all he had, which he gave her. She disappeared. Then the woman was back. "I gave him the rest as a tip. I hope you don't mind. They don't like coming all this way, and I have to keep him in order to go back." Lydia had completed the infusion. "Would you like a cup of tea?" "No, nothing, thank you." Lydia filled 2 cups. "Do you live on the island?" "Down in the town. I'm in an impossible situation. I want you to help me. You're the only people who can." Timo was stirring his tea. "What do we have to do?" he asked. He was not looking at her. "My husband bought a house here. He sent me to live here, and without my 2 sisters. We don't get on very well together, and he's got his business, but he swore he'd let my sisters come." "How long ago was that?" "More than 6 months. I've never heard a word more." "And now you've run out of money?" "Yes, but that's not the worst thing. It's the house. It's haunted." "Before you tell us about it, are you sure you wouldn't like a cup of tea?" She shook her head. "You don't know what it means. No one can know." Timo put down his empty cup. "No, I don't know," he said. "Tell us." She twisted back again and faced them. "I can't tell you, but it's true. You'll just have to believe me." "I don't suppose the details are any of our business," said Timo. "Where does the money come in?" "I must get away, and I have nothing left." "How much?" asked Timo. 200 English pounds. I shall send it back immediately I arrive, of course." "I am very sorry," interrupted Lydia, "but it is more money than we can afford. In fact, it's more than we've actually got to dispose of, I mean. We're not rich, and we have troubles of our own, as my husband said." She noticed that Timo had looked away and was staring out to sea, disregarding both her and their visitor. "I must have it," said the visitor. "I'm sorry, a much smaller sum perhaps, if you're really in trouble, but I must say I cannot quite understand what the trouble is." "She finds her house is haunted," said Timo, still staring at the sea. "It might happen to anyone. It might happen to us." "I'm very sorry," Lydia persisted. "We simply cannot spare a sum like that." "You refuse to help me?" "We are unable." Lydia noticed that on Timo's face was an expression she had never seen there before. "I hear singing," said Timo. The visitor moved not a muscle. Lydia listened. "I hear only insects." Neither of the other 2 spoke or moved. Lydia flushed. Do you mind going now? If you really need it, we can let you have a little money, another 20 crusaders perhaps, and you needn't worry about repaying it. Have you thought of writing to your husband, or even sending a telegram?" "Stop talking," said Timo, very softly. "Can't you hear music?" "No," said Lydia. She tried to listen harder. "Do you know what it is?" Timo inquired of the stranger. She nodded. "Tell me." "They say that few can hear it." "Can you hear it?" She nodded again. "It's part of the reason why I must get away." "It's beautiful all the same," said Timo. "It begins by being beautiful." "And it ends?" "They say it never ends." "I can hear nothing," said Lydia, "and I don't believe that either of you can either." She spoke quite pleasantly, considering how frightened she was. "I must explain," said Timo to the visitor, "that my wife has all the money. I have none. I am not really even English." The visitor rose to her feet in the sea-green dusk. She was looking upwards at the green sky. Timo had risen with her. "If you're going, I mean back to England," said Lydia suddenly, "I'll lend you the money. As it happens, I have enough here. We have only just arrived and hoped to be buying things." She opened her handbag and gave up all the paper money in it. "I should not ask for it if I did not need it so badly," said the visitor. Lydia looked away from her. "You mustn't keep your car waiting any longer." "Where are you going?" asked Timo. "To the house my husband bought for one further night." "What do they call it?" "They call it the House of the Promised. I don't know why." "And then you are going altogether?" "Back home to my sisters." "Don't forget your shoes," said Lydia. "No," the stranger replied, quietly putting them on. "That was generous of you," said Timo in a constrained voice, "and imaginative." "It was weak and foolish of me." Lydia was gathering up the rugs and vessels. "As always." "I haven't heard her car yet. I haven't heard a sound." There was a long silence. "If you feel like that, you had better have a look." He disappeared round the corner of the house. She stood facing the last of the sunset. There was still nothing to be heard. It was as if Timo had stepped into a bottomless pit. Then she heard the engine of their station wagon. She laid down the rugs and crocks and walked slowly in Timo's steps. The last of the green light showed her Timo driving away very fast, alone, it appeared, though it was hard to see. The din seemed to take minutes to die away among the echoing rocks and merge into sounds she had never before consciously listened to, sounds of the alien dusk, unidentifiable, multitudinous, lyrical. Then the night was on her, like the curtain at the end of a play. Just a Song at Twilight by Robert Aickman was read by Tim McInnerny and produced by Karen Rose. It was a Sweet Talk production for Radio 4 Extra.